we have our webs, so now we're going to shift gears just a touch. So on the table, there's a handout that has, it looks like, it is connecting development, I think is what it is. Linking lesson plans. You guys have a linking lesson plans document right here?
Yep.
Oh, wait. You are, sorry. I didn't mean to do that. That's an old video. So this is the handout that you were going to be working from. So in order to get prepared for working for this, I want you to think about a couple of things, okay? So we've been talking about the milestones, right?
Yes.
We've been talking about the milestones. So when you are thinking about children's development, there's typically, and this may look a little different depending on if you are, what assessment tool you're using, right? So we combine the assessment and the planning at the same time. So typically in early childhood, there are 3 levels of development. There's emerging, developing, and mastered. So if I say emerging to you, what does that say?
Beginning, introducing.
Introducing, beginning to show interest. If I say developing, what does that say to you?
They're showing
Showing some understanding, but they still need assistance from you.
Yeah, they still need.
Yes. So what about mastery?
They have it.
They have it, they don't need any more assistance from you, right? So when you're thinking about your activities for your children, you're going to have each one of these 3 levels in your classroom all the time, based on their experience levels and where they are. So you're always going to have a child emerging, you're always going to have a child developing, and you're always going to have a child at a mastery level, or almost at a mastery level, depending on what it is. And so this handout at your table, I want you to think about and go down through each one of these indicators, and I want you to put emerging, developing, or mastery. Okay?
Okay.
Emerging, developing, or mastery.
The link it does. Okay.
Yeah. So at any given time within your classroom, you're going to have each of these three developmental levels. You're going to have children emerging, you're going to have children developing, and you're going to have children mastering something. And so this, we're just identifying, developing, emerging, or mastering.
Okay.
Don't overthink it. Just whatever you think it is, put either an E, a D, or an M.
Schools across the country, they might have mastered it.
Emerging, yeah.
Is it group activity?
Complete
Is
sense.
it together?
You can do it together if you want to.
That's the developing.
Yeah, the second one is
Because it says
emerging.
3, you really overcome that completely.
Correct, this is emerging.
And then they saying they want to write 3 hands just to
The beginning.
So
So you
like,
you really
them
didn't
I have to
go
figure
They
it
say
out.
beginning, but they
I have
just
to figure
learn.
out what you're trying to tell
So
me.
this is
Like, your hand gestures.
because we still trying to
Yeah.
this is like they halfway.
Need a little help, need help. The master no help.
Are emerging.
Got it. Well,
Because you got to assist them. I'm going to put E. Emerging.
And the next one is school about support. That is the developing.
She ain't never.
The first thing they do, they have birth and they lay on the floor. So they go to school, they develop.
But can't recognize them.
development.
Because you still need assistance.
Schools across the street, developing students.
That's development, because when you immersion, that means they just sit.
But you can still
all the
do
time, they
it.
just sit there. So then they start at school, and then when they're immersion, and then they don't develop because they already immersed.
Emerging.
And Chris said they want to write.
Hold look upside that one.
Is that immersion? Because they ain't even trying.
They might need to get checked out.
If it stands and takes steps without assistance.
Emerging. Oh, what'd you say? D. You said D. And we on if it stands and takes steps without assistance. Oh, I put E.
I was gonna put, I think I was gonna put.
She's gonna put D. Verbalize and recognize colors and numbers. M. Bounces before they hop. D. Uses the potty without assistance, no potty hazards. M. Sings with class at circuit time, knows the words to each song. D. No. Let me tell y'all, I'm the circle time queen. That is developed.
She gonna tell us. She gonna tell us.
No. That's this.
Miles is the class C.
They need it. There's a new baby. Cause what?
If they just send on
They
probably like, you know, when they get what's going on, they just not part of it. So what y'all put for hoes,
They need to check out. Schools across.
Is everybody almost finished?
Almost.
I'm finished. Me too, I'm finished.
Say the word.
3. Ooh.
Begins to show interest in potty, says potty, knows one way.
Think it stands and takes steps without assistance.
D.
That's good.
I'm really excited. In just a few minutes, I'm going to give you guys a 25-cent word to put in your pocket that you can use on others. I'll wait before I give out the 25-cent word.
Could someone have 2 answers or just one?
I don't know.
Okay. Done.
Is everybody finished? Everybody finished?
Yes.
Okay. So, begins to show interest in the potty, says potty, knows when they're wet or BM.
D.
D? What did you say?
We
D?
said D.
Developing? That is developing.
Yes.
Because they're not quite there yet, right?
They need help.
But they know, and they know when they're
They
wet.
introduced to it.
Right. Holds a pencil and begins to scribble.
Emerging.
Emerging for which age group?
2-year-old.
2.
It's actually
For
emerging,
1.
it's actually emerging for 2-year-olds, or it's actually, let me rephrase this. If they begin to scribble, if it is, so it's a developing for a 2-year-old because that's what they're supposed to do. For a 3-year-old, it's emerging because they are learning to write letters and things at 3.
So for 2-year-old, what is it?
For 2,
I got it right. Okay.
well, for 2-year-old, it's developing because that's one of their skills. For a 3-year-old to 4-year-old, it's emerging.
So you said it's
Oh, so it's wrong.
For a 2-year-old. So see, this is where Miss Terry asked, she goes,
I
this isn't
sure
gonna be
did.
more than one.
Well, I did it down here, but I do
She
it
did.
Yeah.
So it's not, so when you all are in a classroom, there's a perspective that comes along, right? You all have your own perspective, you all have your own view of what's happening in the classroom. So it's gonna be reflected in everything that you do. So if you are, and I purposefully did not put an age out beside this, so that you all could think about what it is. And to show that you will have different perspective. So as we go through this, you'll have a different, some of you will have a different perspective than others. So you want to think about the age that you're working with, but if there's no age here, that was tricky. I was tricking you all.
So we're the second one,
Right.
Lisa?
But, yes, but so if you think about scoots across the floor on tummy, what age group would that be?
Baby.
Babies, right.
So it would be E.
Well, actually, it's developing.
It's D.
Because they scoot before they walk, right?
Right.
Right.
And then the tummy doing
They scoot before they walk.
Hey,
So then also when you're thinking about emerging, developing, and mastery, you have to think about what specific skill it is that you're looking at. Complete sentences.
master.
Mastered for a 4-year-old, right?
yes.
Yes. Expresses that they want to write either through hand gestures or words.
3-year-old. I put
It's emerging because they're showing interest.
Okay.
Emerging is anything that's beginning to come forth and show interest. Yes.
E. E.
Oh, I put D.
Yeah.
Stands up with assistance.
E, emerging.
Developing. Anything that's with assistance is developing.
Okay.
Because you're helping them to get to that point.
They still need help.
Yes. Emerging is they're beginning to show you, hey, I'm interested.
Okay, the D is they need
And
help.
then developing is when I have to help you. And then mastered is I can do it all by myself. Yes. Sits on the potty, but nothing happens, continues to be wet or BM.
Emerging.
Yes. Because they're just showing interest, right?
Yes.
Yes.
I got it.
Verbalizes colors and numbers, but can't recognize them.
Emerging.
Development.
Because they can verbalize it, but they can't recognize
yeah,
it.
they-
So they're developing. Yes. You have to help them. Yes. Holds a book upside down. Well, I skipped one. Verbalizes the desire to sing, but can't say the words. Emerging. They're showing you they want to do it, but they don't know how to do it. Yes. Holds a book upside down. Yes. Because they're showing you they want to look at the book, right? Infant stands and takes steps without assistance. Master it. Because they're doing it without assistance. Infants without assistance.
Definitely what
Verbalizes and recognizes colors and numbers. Yes. Bounces before they hop.
Develop.
Yes. Because they're not there yet.
yeah.
Uses the potty without assistance, no potty accidents. Yes. Sings with the class at circle time, knows the words to each song. Mastery. Because they know it without assistance. Yep. Tells a story by looking at the pictures.
Math.
Yes, because that is a pre-literacy skill for 3 and 4-year-olds, is to be able to tell a story with the pictures. Smiles as the class sings or reads a story.
Developing.
Emerging. They're showing interest. They're just smiling like, hey, I like what you're doing, but I don't know what
I
it is.
need both because I see the difference.
I was
Yeah,
getting
emergency.
Yeah.
Because look how my D was.
About two still. Okay, you said,
Holds a pencil and begins to scribble.
but there's not, but it's an age behind it, and the answer is what now?
If it's a 2-year-old, it's mastery, because that's what they can do developmentally.
Gotcha, I had.
If it's a 3-year-old, it's emerging, because they should already be there.
Okay,
Yes.
so it's mastered with this one. I missed that one, okay.
I like these.
I missed that.
It makes you think, doesn't it? So if you're thinking about the children in your classroom. Crystal, did you have a question?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, infant stands and takes step without assistance, that'll be development.
That's mastery.
Mastering.
Because they don't need help.
Four, man.
And an infant by 12 months, if they're in our bell curve, right, they should be taking steps without anybody helping
That was
them.
fun though. Did anybody get all of them right? Did anybody get all of them right?
But see, and that's where that perspective comes in, guys. And even when you're working with someone in your classroom, you guys are not always going to agree on what you see.
Yeah.
So that's why you all need to communicate with one another and talk to one another about things. Because you're not always going to agree with what you see.
That was fun.
So now, there's another form on your desk. And I'm going to take you through on your desk, on your tables. This form is, and you guys did great with that. This form looks like this. Except I X'd out, I put a red X on one of the exploring. I need to redo this form, but I just haven't done that yet. Yes. So, this was actually one of my activities in my master's program. When we did, this was one of my activities that I had to do. So when we finish this, I'm gonna share with you my work
Okay.
that I had to do. And she gave me my 400 points for it, so.
400?
100, my full
Okay.
points.
Oh, 400.
And so now this is the part that we don't often do when we're planning a lesson. So you guys did the theme web, and even if you don't do a theme web, and you've got your concept that you want, right? You've got your topic, you've got whatever you want to do. So if you really want to be deep, you're going to connect it to the development of the child by knowing what it looks like at an emerging level, a developing level, and a mastered level. So, what I want you to do at your tables, you can do this separately as a group. You're going to take a domain from the GELDS, whether it is, I always say no physical development because that's easy. You can't do anything about helping with feeding or dressing or none of that. No running, skipping, jumping. That's too easy. So you're going to pick up one of the domains, one of the learning domains from GELDS. You're going to put the domain where it says domain. So then you know how when we talked about GELDS, there's standards and strands? You're going to pick one of those strands. Any strand you want, and I'll give you a little top through one. And I'm just going to pick which. I'm going to go to the first social emotional development. So the first social emotional development, the domain is social emotional development. The strand is developing a sense of self, and the standard is the child will engage in self-expression. I think that you need to be as specific as developing a sense of self, and the child will engage in self-expression.
That's what we put as a developmental skill.
That's what you're going to put as a developmental skill.
Expression.
You're going to put the strand. You can use whichever one you want. I just chose this one so I could give you an example.
Okay, gotcha.
And so then, what I want you to do first of all is we're going to do this together by blocks. So don't work ahead. I want you to think about what. So let's say I did the child will engage in self-expression. How will I know what that looks like at an emerging level? What behaviors will I see?
A
lot of
Lacking.
Make a noise.
A lot of
like
lacking in,
whatever skill.
well, but you've got to be able to describe it, right?
Yeah.
Like,
So, child will begin to engage in self-expression. So, and actually for this one is 48 to 60 months. So you're gonna have to choose an age. So let's say for a 4-year-old, because this is on the 4-year-old level. So I'm gonna think about, what does that look like? How do I know they want? So they're gonna give me behaviors showing me that they're trying to give me self-expression, right? So they may make faces at you to express. If I don't like something, they may not be able to say I don't like that, but you may notice by their facial expressions. So facial expressions without words may be one of it, part of it. But there's multiple behaviors for that. So then at the developing level, they may begin to say an emotion, or they may begin to say what they want, but not have it quite right. They may not have the exact words for what they need to express. So they may have tantrums instead of words if they're arguing with someone. They may not be able to say, can I play with you? They may just go snatch your block away. So, and then and then you're gonna have to go over there and do conflict mediation with them.
Right.
Because they're developing, they've got some words, there's not the right ones. And then mastery is where they can walk up to their friend and say, can I play with you? Oh, great. Or you can have a turn. Oh, thank you. Miss Kalia, can I have some more juice? It's that self-expression. They can express what they need and what they want. So, but you have to know what that looks like. So then when you're planning and you know, and this is your 25-cent word, differentiated learning. You're differentiating the learning because you know what it looks like at the different levels. Emerging, developing, and mastery. So then when you're planning your activities, you already know what it looks like at an emerging level, so you know what to give that child. You know what it looks at a developing level, so you plan one activity because you know what it looks like on 3 levels. And that takes some brain power. Just a little bit. Because we're not taught to plan lessons this way. We're taught to take a blank lesson plan, put activities on it, and align it with the gels.
Right.
That's all we're taught to do. But there's more to it than that. So your first quarter word was developmentally appropriate practice today. Your second quarter word is differentiated learning. That's the key. So I want you all to, at your table, decide which strand, all that kind of good stuff you want to do. And then just do the descriptive behaviors for emerging, developing, and mastery, okay? Don't move past that yet. We're going to move past it together.
okay, so the one thing at a time.
Yes.
Okay. So you want to put the age to
Yes, choose your age as well. And you guys have the 4-year-olds, so just do 4-year-olds. And if you guys want to just do the age that you have in your box, just do the age you have in your box. It's fine.
I got kids.
Just no physical development.
Language.
That's easy.
The domain, communication, language.
That's a good one.
That's a major
Communication.
That's a good one. So just do your descriptive behaviors of what it looks like, and don't think about specific activities, because this is not activities. This is general behaviors that you would see for that strand at the beginning, the emerging, developing, and mastered level.
Develop a sense of self. Sense of self-awareness.
24 to 36 months, that's 2-year-olds, right?
Oh, we got, this one said
What's
12
36 to 48? 3-year-olds
36 to 48.
or 2.5-year-olds?
I think so.
36 to 48, 3-year-olds.
I'm gonna do 3-year-olds. No, I'm gonna do 2-year-olds.
We'll develop something, okay, yeah. So the child develops, okay.
And you said put the standard.
Listen to response to new conversations and good
Developmental skills, kind of same thing.
Self-awareness.
Oh, the string. The string go under developmental skill?
Yes, you're gonna put the strand,
Developmental skill.
the strand and the standard, okay? Because the standard is more specific, so that's gonna be much easier for you to pinpoint. Behaviors for.
So it's early reading. It's just like,
I can work by myself, but I can ask y'all a question. To get up from my table.
Genesia says, you know, she's not going down like that.
I had this table first.
Are you ladies okay over here?
Right, no.
Okay.
She just wanted us to do the first three. Boxes.
Yeah, just do the emerging, developing, and mastery behaviors, not activities, but how are you gonna know they're at that level?
okay, so how we know that they start up our battle?
So we could do, yeah,
Noise.
just like this would say
When you
identify
guys are
images.
4-year-olds.
So they
So
recognize that
4-year-olds
they see
emerging.
themselves and not another child. So to show you that they're interested
They
in
start,
that would be like, what did you say? Facials, yeah, because that's what she just said. So showing facial,
First of all, when
facial
you sing,
expressions.
we sing it, right?
What else?
They learn it.
Well, but you're not gonna think about that, you're gonna think about,
Because
how
they
do you know?
Okay.
They know if they're,
Oh.
right, what behaviors will you see at an emerging level for the child will
4-year-old.
demonstrate increasing knowledge of the alphabet?
They start,
maybe be interesting, Mary.
they start like 1, maybe, or something.
So she's or maybe we know the ABCs. Well,
Like-
like,
like-
look
like
at
they do-
like they'll hold
Like the
another
second
baby
time,
face.
like we doing it right first.
Look.
If we start pointing to us, then
Yeah,
they'll start
So
doing
let me
it.
show you something. Look on the back, think about it this way, emerging,
No, them
developing,
activities.
master, right? Because
Oh,
you
yeah.
have 4-year-olds, right?
These are activities.
So they recognize the letters
It's
of the
tough.
alphabet, like they're special, but they don't know what it is, right? So that says that they may, a current environment helps young children make connections between objects and ideas. So,
A younger one is.
but then it
can
says
identify
with
images
prompting
of-
and support. So this is, they recognize that, that's a letter, I think. I know this is something, I just don't know what it is. But then with prompting and support, that development, and you're talking to them about letters, you're showing them pictures of letters, you're letting them find a letter. And then with prompting and support, they can then
On their own.
recognize some of them on their own.
Yeah, I think so.
So think of it this way, think of it as, they're looking at it like, they know this is important. They know they're supposed to care about this. They want to, but they don't know what it is. So you're thinking of behaviors. So if you're in your classroom and you're doing an activity and you've got a child just looking at you, no, that's not evolution method. They're not. But then you've got them going, oh, okay. You're sitting there doing an alphabet puzzle. You ask them to put that A where the A goes, and they don't know where the A goes, but you help them put the A there. Then you're developing them, because you've helped them with assistance, they knew where the A went. And then mastery is where they do it without that. So when you've introduced them to activities, they can do part of the activity, but they can't complete it without assistance.
That's what I'm saying. Second time we do better. We do it with them. We say first, like we do better.
So think about the behaviors. That's where
Trying to make.
they're looking at you, but no response. Yes, yes. And then developing is they're introduced to activities. They can partially complete the activity, but not complete it all the way, without the teacher helping.
So they all kind of know what.
Think about it
you know what I'm
this
saying?
way.
They
I just
got
hooked them
understanding
out
of what
here.
season.
So
what season
this
it
is
is.
36 to 48, right? So think about this as
Okay, so the
emerging.
first one would be look with no.
And that's just what you said. I just thought. So, because that's just what I said to them
No
over there. So
response.
if you are, the child will listen to conversations and
They
then
trying to say,
comprehension.
you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna say look and
It's basically
then
that.
start
It's
telling them
not
about
what you're doing, what you're saying.
without looking.
That's
Because they
emerging.
been trying, they
They're
been saying,
just
they
gonna
been
look
saying
at
something,
you.
don't know they saying, they been
And then
saying
at the
A, B,
developing,
C.
they will engage you,
and
but,
interest.
right, but they're not,
I'm like,
still not
yeah,
gonna be able to
man,
get it.
easy,
They're still
yeah.
not gonna be able to have a conversation with you till they've mastered it. They may start to have a conversation with you, but
Just
without your assistance.
Just listen to me one time.
able to know.
And just, and I want you to still think about
straight to it.
behaviors. That's gonna be your key, is thinking about behaviors, because if you're in a classroom and you're thinking about behaviors, and you've got a child that you're trying to have a conversation with, you and they're looking at you like you're nuts.
And they're probably emerging.
No, yeah, without,
They don't
without
know.
being
Focusing
taught,
on that
without
behavior.
without assistance, yeah.
Child would
Without
be like,
assistance.
nah.
Cause they still got to
And they
know
may
to put it in the right place.
They might not.
Yeah. So,
And-
without assistance.
And at a 3-year-old level, they may try to talk to you about something that you weren't even talking to them about.
But they're still
But
talking.
they're engaging with you, and then you
Okay.
bring them back to the conversation.
Okay.
And then you help teach them how to take turns in the
Gotcha.
conversation. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then, when they've gotten it, they can sit there and you can be sitting beside them at the table, and you can say, tell me about your picture. And they can start telling you about their picture. And then you can ask them questions, they can answer you, and you can actually have a conversation.
Right.
When they've
That's
got it.
measured, right.
So then if you know you've got an activity, and then you need to look at it from those 3 levels, because you're gonna have all 3 of those levels in your classroom at one point in time. And then you still may move from the emerging to developing mastery. Because in the beginning of the school year, you're gonna have all 3. But maybe by Christmas, you've got developing and mastery.
Yeah.
And then your goal is by the end of the school year to have mastered. Yes, but you won't know that if you don't know what it looks like.
Right.
Yes.
My money.
Okay.
We got it.
And then
We got our first one.
Write your, she will give you up your behaviors.
I'm like, use suggestions and actions to reference stuff
But
when interacting
This,
with
okay,
others.
this is,
So I said,
with
pointing and gesturing to friends.
early reading, right, communication.
Literacy.
Right.
This, all right,
I did
look
put
with
my-
no response.
Pointing.
So they're looking at you but not responding.
Right.
So then the development would be,
And
they
which
look,
standard are you guys doing? You're doing the child will demonstrate increasing knowledge of the alphabet.
This one is,
and then, so the development would be, they'll look and then respond.
they learn ways
Well,
to communicate.
They're
with
going, you're gonna be, how whatever
independently.
activity you're
They
using
learn that they are
to
separate from
teach
others.
them,
So
they will be able to give you a partial response, but not a full response, without
So-
your assistance.
Okay. So we respond with assistance, that would be correct.
Yeah, I think the last one would be without assistance.
and
Master
then
without
mastery
assistance.
would be.
And master is being able to
The realization that she.
identify whatever it
has
is.
her own
On their own.
Yes.
thoughts and feelings. Okay, but what do that look like? Okay.
Okay, and then the next one, I put respond without looking, but,
Without assistance.
yeah,
Or would it
just,
be like, and be like,
They're comfortable with, you can tell that they're visibly comfortable with the information.
And sometimes the master study start getting bored with it. They outgrow it. They be like,
And
I want something else.
that's when you
man.
need to take it on up a notch.
Yeah, I can get it somewhere else.
kid
Yes.
telling you. Like,
I told you how King was, remember? The King getting bored in that class.
them recognizing themselves as individuals.
out assistance.
Yes.
Self-expression.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Kids.
Okay, let me know when you ladies are finished with those 3 boxes.
I'm done.
We're done.
I don't forgot to open rainbow stage. I remember that.
Okay, so now, once we get on into this, we're gonna take our web over here and our standard, and we're gonna think about our web and our standard
That's
together. Da-da! Kalima's going, that's today.
Yeah, Google, like the
let's see.
What you put?
But see, that's how you link your lessons to development.
Because if they know it, are they mastering it?
Or do we need to work on?
And we were just talking at the other table, at the beginning of the school year, you may have emerging, developing, and mastered children all at the same time. But as you're growing their skill level and developing them, by Christmas, you may just have developing and mastery. You may not have any more emerging, depending on the skill that you're teaching them. And then by the end of the school year, you want them to be moved into mastery. So then when they go up to their next classroom, they'll still be emerging in certain skills
That's funny.
because it's going to be new again to them.
Mine is definitely not wrong.
or lack of, for immersion, the lack of self-identifying.
Leg away.
So are you ladies ready to think about the next box, which is teaching strategies? Tell me what a strategy is. And it is not an activity.
A strategy is a certain way you do something.
Yes. It's how you're gonna do it.
Okay.
So if whatever your, they did a communication strand over here. So they did, the child will demonstrate increasing knowledge of the alphabet, and it's an early reading strand. So I want them to think about the strategies. How are they gonna teach that? Not activities, because activities are last. Strategies are the process. What's the process that you're gonna use to teach this to your children?
But not activities.
Right. Activities come last.
Oh, that's hard.
So I'm gonna give you a hint. One strategy is providing time for them to practice the skill. That's an overarching strategy, right?
Yeah.
Like that,
That's it. And how are you gonna do that in your classroom? You've got 2 blocks of center time. That's providing them time throughout the day to practice their skill. So a strategy is you're gonna provide them time within your daily schedule to practice those skills. And you need at least 3 strategies.
Okay.
I know.
The one you just said, a free one, right?
I just gave you a freebie.
Provide
Provide time
more.
within your daily schedule.
Provide objects.
I'm gonna say repeat.
So will we give
Repetition?
like,
We need one more. then.
I'm thinking like,
You're on the right track, just change that one
get
word.
it.
That's a
Objects.
repetition, so we need one more.
Yeah. Well, she gave us talk. I say talk time.
Oh.
Oh, that's good. Okay. Okay. I mean, the other thing together, you're
That's
right.
a strategy.
That support the development of that skill.
okay,
Provide materials.
so we'll,
Oh, what did you just say?
it'll be like maybe
What else would you say? Could you say that right?
You can think about when we said
That would be the outcome of it.
Like, how would you get them, like, if we saying the alphabet, how would we get them to engage in learning?
So this is like very basic,
strategies are overarching.
base what you need.
So when we talked about curriculum, curriculum is everything, right? So what about your room arrangement?
Provide the framework. No?
Right. That
And
would be the
provide
That's about schedule.
learning system.
Oh.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
That's a
Oh,
strategy.
because you need,
Say
they
not
gotta
to-
go somewhere to use the
Exactly
time and
why-
the material.
Right.
Bam!
We do math letters.
Yes.
So we gonna do puzzles?
Especially implementing learning center, I guess, because when you think about it, it's a lot of.
So when you're
ways
thinking
to
about
do better.
overarching strategies, most oftentimes that's time. That's a strategy. They need time to practice, right?
Mhm.
They need materials to practice with, right? So you're gonna provide materials to support this skill. You're gonna have your classroom set up. You have learning centers, right?
Oh, yes.
Your room design is part of your curriculum, right? So you've gotta, and Michaela just said it over there, you've gotta have areas in which to utilize your time and your materials to practice and develop your skill.
So would you go in depth according to your,
Yeah, just lay out whatever learning centers you have. You can say, I will provide blocks, whatever. 5 or 6 learning centers if you want to.
Puzzles and stuff.
Y'all doing
Math
puzzles,
letters.
but y'all really should be I thought hers said color.
no, yeah, I was saying like. choose
So,
your favorite
the strategies
color.
are the
Like,
how.
How they express.
How you're gonna do it is give them time to do it. How you're gonna do it is provide materials that support the skill. How you're gonna do it is have your room set up so that they can practice that skill using the materials and the time that you're giving them.
And another thing, if you don't do it like in a small group, they can still have access to do it on their own. So-
And if you're doing a language and literacy one where it's about conversation or communication, then say that the teacher will have conversation, will initiate conversation with the children throughout the day.
Is that kind of like, well, I had put repeat, is that kind of like repeat, because you know how you have to constantly, if I'm doing the alphabet,
Well,
I'm constantly repeating.
But you can use the word repetition. So you can say through repetition,
Yeah.
teacher will provide
But see, now you're
Or would
going
it be just
But now
or teacher, through repetition, teachers will utilize activities multiple times throughout that week.
Cause look, curriculum down here.
Implement it in daily routine, daily location, every day. That's a good one. That's a good one. Doing it over and over.
Yeah.
with choices, that's what I'm saying. Spaces with
Oh, Ms.
choices,
Lisa said that?
so they can choose.
Why I hear my niece all them.
But she's having fun. Okay, so now that you've got your 3 strategies, right? Now we're gonna move on to where it says the environmental strategies, the curriculum, that's your materials. So think about what materials, because we always wanna think about what materials we have on hand first before buying a bunch of stuff. Use what you have on hand first. So think about what materials will support that strand, that activity. So if you've got, this is demonstrating increasing knowledge of alphabet, you're gonna have letters. You're gonna have, maybe you have magnetic letters and a magnetic board. Maybe you have alphabet puzzles. Maybe you have stencils. Maybe you have letter cards. Maybe you have anything that's gonna support what you have. You're gonna have posters throughout your display.
Alphabet poster.
You may have menus in your dramatic play. That's letters. You may have, you'll have books everywhere. Words everywhere. A very print-rich environment. So you're gonna start there with what you have in your room first.
You put stencils in
What you put, Cal? I put construction paper. I said
Cause I was like,
and then I don't know, somebody called me Kayla the other day and I responded to it too. And I never do that, but I'm like, I don't know, like, am I telling? I don't know. She said it, like, oh, it's okay, I'll be just, anyway.
You put playing cards. You put playing cards.
Playing cards?
Like regular cards. Like
Alphabet cards?
I did like,
Don't put flash.
dress them up.
Because flashcards are not,
I put
they're
mirrors.
just appropriate, it's just rote memorization, it's not creative learning.
You get it, don't work.
I dress them clothes.
You can do that at home. Okay. What about, you know, we use the,
Construction paper, marker, crayons, cause then they get a choice. And then they know, like, I don't know why I'm stuck on colors.
I do, you know how you,
Cause I feel like that's the easiest thing for children, like, for self-expression, but on the same, they say more than their favorite color.
Like this,
Well, you're not thinking about activities yet, you're still just thinking about materials.
all of them too, see.
Unique wants, needs, likes, dislikes, thoughts, and feelings. So, how could they, like, things that would help them identify? Like the, so they can see the, I really love that, practicing expression. Expression. illustrate. I'm like, I guess they wouldn't know if they like it or not once they play with it. But that's like for anything. But then that's what I'm saying, like maybe ours is like really anything they like.
Well, let me know when you ladies are finished with your materials.
So I got some dress clothes, nails, special clothes. I know. I'm like, cause like so they can look at themselves and know like this.
Those are, is it social emotional
No,
activity? But you can use it with. I would like to use it, because that's where we got those questions for them, that we,
Is that
the conversation
they use
starters.
the gesture?
I could use it, like, sing-along songs.
These be so I ask my teenager. Cause they answers will be funny.
Okay,
But it's crazy because that's what I say on here.
so you guys have done your, your materials now, so now I want you to think about what you put as your web. So whatever strand and standard you have, I want you to plan an activity that's aligned with it, that supports your community helpers. And if you're thinking about a week's worth, then we're gonna need 5 activities that go along with that standard and strand, using your materials that you put down, right?
We already did
This
come up
is
with
crazy.
the, 7.
So think about your web, and if I need to bring your web back over here for you, I will.
Wait, that's
And remove your web around.
not really, they don't really go with our senses.
Okay, so we would,
What is this?
Here's our winter web.
To their senses side.
book,
And then we said.
You ladies need to see it.
We said dental.
community.
Oh, I gave you the wrong one, you're not winter. Oh, the Miss Proctor, you got the winter. Here's your web if you need it, ladies.
Music, about, music about community service, listen to music about community service, because that's what they say.
That support your,
I got a separate
web
one,
here.
so 2-year-olds are beginning to.
but
listen
it's gotta be aligned with the strand that you're working on.
And they say, listening and watching.
So we will put,
to
what's our,
what they see and hear. They learn
That's the
to
strand that you're working on.
are by, are when we.
Okay, so lesson plans,
being rated.
5 lesson plans that we.
5 observing.
Just 5 activities.
Five
We're gonna do
activities.
5 activities that's aligned with this
is in
strand,
response to
that,
conversations and group discussions.
your strand right here.
This is my activity.
Using these materials.
They're basically.
Because you're gonna start with what you have in your room, that's aligned, but it's gotta be aligned, it's gotta be using that web.
Sing happy if you know it. Act it out. Read an interactive story such as head to toe.
So you gotta do 2.
Now, you can use any of your learning centers. You can use any of your learning centers.
But that was a guess.
But you've gotta use the materials that you listed, and you've gotta come up with activities that support that strand.
What's our strand?
They would go with ours though.
You can even do it
Social development. What is it?
Every play. Every play.
Guess the object.
Small group, circle time,
But guess the community helper.
art time.
But what would be the activities we would incorporate?
Using the materials you listed on your sheet.
What materials do y'all have?
Circle time, we're gonna do the poster board, remember?
They got something about taking pictures with them.
Okay, you said
Maybe
something
look
with
at pictures of themselves.
Come here, the ones that got the room already.
Mm-hmm.
You know. Forgot about songs, girl.
Mm-hmm.
But then how does that go in classroom?
Posters.
Oh, they can take pictures of themselves in the classroom right there.
The magnetic letters, you know, we had the board, you know, stick and use
Let's do puzzle.
puzzles. You should do puzzle small group. You should do puzzles on small group. That's circle
No, this is different. Also, she said like 3 different activities.
Well, you want to do 5, because if you think about a week's worth, according to your communication, language and literacy domain, that's on your lesson plan form.
So it would be like you would, but this time we have to do it if you want to do that. We'll have it like in the morning. Oh, okay. And then in the morning we got consider ourselves as a and we said large group, and we have to plan that activity for large group. So they what we're gonna do in that large group. What kind of activity we're gonna incorporate in the morning.
Rules for the role, show the children examples of role signs, use the signs to facilitate a discussion about the need for traffic signs and role. But let's go back to our theme.
It's like cross the crash. Oh, well, what you got to be in her age, I got that. Because she worked.
Oh, I said, take just one and
So the music, okay. So you're right. I just thought about it, and our visual board is together. So the music and movement is a lot to it. It's all over the place. And then when we
Dramatic, how we incorporate ABC.
you know, she said menu, I mean.
But you've got to have it aligned with your thing there. What does menus have to do with transportation?
You're right, you're right. Okay, so we gotta do.
It's got to be aligned with your transportation thing.
We do have to play it. We never, ever. Oh, we can do that. So fit,
Where they don't put, you know, you supposed to be like, come to water.
oh, we can do that. So you do that play, we do what, you put your, put that thing in the water play, like, maybe we could just play the water.
I'm kind of confused because we supposed to be
motion's supposed to
Communication.
with ABCs.
when they come in the
But you
morning.
said how we gonna branch off.
So then,
Okay, say this is ABC in the middle. It's ABC, right? No?
in the morning time.
You're making this
And when they come in.
align with that. So, you got, this is early reading. The child will demonstrate increasing knowledge of the alphabet. So, maybe you have some books on transportation.
Okay.
That's one that you could do.
We did put books down here, but we didn't put transportation. Yeah,
Well, it needs to be transportation books because that's what you do.
transportation.
You can also do a transportation page. The title transfer, the word of the truck, helicopter, and they have to match it.
So that's 2 things
For transportation method. And that could be in your box center.
I was there anyway on the floor.
What?
All the matting you have, the car matting.
Oh, yeah, so you,
And that could be.
Look at this one, mealtime on encourage group discussion during
the car,
such as snack and lunch.
And,
So I thought about
or
it.
you could sort, you could have real pictures of the transportation with the word.
Okay,
During
so just say
mealtime
sorting.
discussion.
Transportation
Incorporate the
sorting.
Just sorting. So let's try one more.
Do y'all think
With
it's
the
just
word. Because the
you know, just ask
key
questions.
is the word,
Right.
Okay.
Help them identify the food
the letters.
that the chef cooked or the community helper.
And in the water, you can have
I need
the
one of that
letters
too.
sinking down into the water and then fish out the right
Oh, that's a
letter,
good idea.
fish out an A, fish out a B, fish out a C.
okay, what that would be on?
Just water.
Fishing for letters.
Fishing for letters. Okay. And you know this
We got music, transportation, book, fishing for letters.
How does music match with transportation? What are you gonna do for music that's gonna match transportation?
Oh, see, that's why I had it mixed with this.
So with the movement, the community.
The noise, the buses or
Okay?
I thought we had fire truck.
So then how does that demonstrate the increasing knowledge of the alphabet?
Say it again.
Because if I say music is not demonstrating
Cause
alphabet.
it's finna show you signs. It'll show you
So
that.
what, does the song have alphabets in the song? It's still like,
What if the music had the alphabet?
Where does transportation come into play?
TikTok.
So see, when you're planning, everything's gotta be linked.
That's what that's
So see, that's what you have to think about. You have to go to that little deeper place to say, oh,
Some of it need numbers, activities.
You know, because I had erased the other, I had erased music, so.
Don't you put that on
and you can do something, you can do something simple, like a chart.
they said it's.
That is where you're asking the children, you're graphing what vehicles, what types of transportation they saw on their way into school. And then you're writing the words down, you're posting them in the classroom with their name and what they saw. And so that also exposes them to print.
So what we say on mine, use it for like.
I can only speak, well, I think my phone was called refurbished or something, I
It's a
don't know.
graph, transportation graph.
It probably was
And then they're gonna tell you what forms of transportation they saw on the way to school this morning, and you're gonna write it down.
It's like $20.
They might have saw trucks, cars, buses, whatever they tell you, you're gonna write it down when you find
Like,
it.
it's fixed.
Right.
I've literally been talking on speakers for like months.
So be ready to share in just a minute. So make sure that everything links back to your theme. So if you are your little web, so whatever activity you're doing according to that standard, how is it linked to your web?
How we implement with that? The social is when the kids do stuff together. How we do that with efforts?
And everybody needs at least 5 activities.
So that would be, no. Like answering them. Like it could be age.
It could be like you can push, if you had the car that start with, say, Acura, but of course they're not gonna know that.
Unless we like had the kids line up, they don't let the 2 years old, I can say, then they don't know.
Well, she said 4, this is 4 years old.
They fold, you can do that. The age, like, I think it's, I'm not, my next name, Humphrey. Then they started at 8, stand up, something like that. I'm saying, what would that be like? You know what I'm saying?
With transportation, you got to remember transportation, I'm talking about transportation.
So it would be, like, it would be like a car, but we got to say,
How about whoever rode to school in a car today, say that. Whoever rode to school on a truck today.
that's a good one. I know I'm going somewhere
On
with,
a bus today, said
do
that.
that.
Whoever arrived at school on an airplane today.
So how-
Use all your forms of transportation. And some children might say, I did, say, okay, come on.
See, I was going somewhere with how you work, just like transportation, how you got to school. How would you put it on the transportation, how you got here? How you
No,
Demonstrate.
that could just be like a transition activity.
Okay.
And it could be, because you're gonna know what you did, so transition, a transportation transition
Okay.
activity, children line up according to how they arrived at school today.
That's fine, I mean.
Okay, who wants to go first? All right. So what are your 5 activities? First, tell us what your standard and your domain is, and your strand, and then your web, and then your activities that are connected to all of that and your web.
Okay, so my strand was receptive language
For what age?
for 2-year-olds.
Okay.
So basically, the domain is communication, language, and literacy.
Okay.
Wait, what did you say?
What are your 5 activities that you chose?
My 5 activities. Oh, and I have community helpers.
Yep.
So the first activity, read books about community helpers, ask questions, and have the kids respond and describe,
Okay.
if possible. Listen to music about community helpers and act it out. Let them dress up and, act it out and dance to the music. Music and movement, I don't know. Guess the community helper. Have each student dress up and guess
Yeah, I can guess.
where there's, socializing, communicating with each other. Mealtime moments, have the group discuss one community helper, such as a chef. Ask questions about the food, help identify the different foods, or even go into detail about how the chef prepared the food.
Can do that.
My fifth activity, rules for the road and block center, show different road signs pertaining to a construction worker.
Okay.
And you could kind of explain, but very brief, like what the signs,
And-
age appropriate though.
And with receptive language, that is where you want to know that they are hearing what you're saying and they're understanding. So by asking the questions, you're going to know if they're understanding what you're saying.
Yep. So basically, out of all that, the child will listen to conversations and demonstrate comprehension.
Perfect. Okay, who wants to go next?
Well, okay, so we did social emotional development. Our strand was, our domain was social emotional development, and our developmental skill was the child will develop self-awareness.
Okay.
So you say you want the activities first?
Yeah, well, the 5 activities that are aligned with your topic.
Okay. So we did classroom jobs.
Okay.
So we said that we would give them things to do in the classroom, and then teach them like these are your jobs, like these are the community helpers' jobs,
Okay.
and it goes back to the sense of self because they're choosing what their job is, and then having like a sense of responsibility to have that job for the whole week.
Yes.
And then we did portrait gallery, where we have them. What do we say? Okay, have the children draw a self-portrait using a paper plate. We had construction paper, markers, and other materials to connect it to the community helpers. We said that I think we said we'll have pictures of community helpers around the classroom,
Okay.
and then they can.
We're gonna take a picture of them and they're gonna draw out whatever community helper
They're dressed as.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So their self-portrait as their community helper.
Yes.
Okay.
And then we also had an activity looking through the mirror. Looking through the window, sorry. I'm like so stuck on mirrors over here. But looking through the window, and so we were saying like, they will be able to see like real-time helpers outside, like firefighters passing by or like policemen or anything like that. And listen to the sound. So if we hear them, we go to the window and have that experience. How many we got? Then time to identify our community. I'm like, where? I think we said that they would. I just Oh, okay. We did mirror paint, where we provide paint and a mirror for them to paint themselves. Also, like, as they could do it as a community helper.
2-year-olds? No, I'm just kidding.
Oh yeah. I didn't say our age. We we 3 to 4.
Yeah, we 3 to 4.
So
This is not affordable.
I think that's it. Paint them, mirror paint, looking through the window. Oh, and then identifying their community. So we would pull a community helper tool, or have our kids dress up in community helpers and bring them up to the classroom like, what community helper is this? And then just also trying to integrate their sense of self within that. It was kind of like we were like on a roll, and then when we had to include the community helpers, it was like, yeah, ball in there.
Yeah.
But you did it.
Yeah,
You did it.
I did. Yeah.
Okay, great. Okay, who wants to go next? Oh, dun, dun, dun. Okay, Ms. Proctor.
Okay.
So you had the winter topic. So what were your what's your strand, your standard, and then how your 5 activities that are aligned with winter?
Okay, so I'm doing cognitive development and general knowledge. And the skill is the child will explore and communicate about distance, weight, length, height, and time.
Woo, okay.
So you need the activities first?
You can give me the activities that match that.
Okay. Oh, and the age group is for 3-year-olds.
3-year-old, okay.
Okay, so the first activity was a snowball toss, basically just measuring the distance of how far you can toss it.
Okay.
Build a snowman will be measuring the height and the length, maybe how high the snowman is, how long the arms and nose is. Frozen sensory exploration, so we could do ice cubes, frozen toys, measuring cups, observing how the ice melts over time, how it feels. A wintertime observation, so we'll just be discussing different events that happen in the wintertime, exploring routines, and then winter clothes lesson.
Okay, good job. Okay, who else?
She gonna go with you.
Okay, Miss Terry.
Wait a minute.
Miss Terry and Miss Shay work together on there. And they did transportation as their topic. What's your strand and your standard?
The strand is early reading.
Okay, speak up just a little bit.
I'm sorry. The strand is early reading, and the domain is communication, language, and literacy.
And now read the standard, Miss Shay, what they're going to be doing.
The child will demonstrate increasing knowledge of the alphabet.
Okay?
And it's with 4-year-olds.
Okay.
And then the first one would be, we would do,
Your activities?
the activities would be a transportation puzzle. So you know how you got the puzzles, but you have to match the puzzle up with the right transportation?
Mm-hmm.
And then the second would be transportation books. And then, see, this is where we went wrong. 'cause this
So
is
your
right here.
transportation puzzle, how does that go with recognizing the alphabet? How is that aligned with recognizing the alphabet?
See, this is why it's just confusing.
Keep going. Keep going.
Well,
The transportation books, they're going to read books about transportation.
okay, thank you. And then the fishing, we'll do the letters, fishing for letters in the water.
Yep, they're going to pretend they're on a boat
They're on a boat.
and they're fishing for certain letters.
The transportation graph.
So they're going to ask the children what forms of transportation, what did they see on their way to school
On the way to
that
school.
morning?
And
And they're going to note it on a graph, and then they're going to post the graph in the classroom, so that's their print knowledge right there.
Yep. And then
That's kind of like the same thing. I thought it say
And then they're going to do a transition activity. I was just listening to them. I was helping them articulate because I was listening to them. So they're going to do a transition activity where they're going to ask the children when they're transitioning from one area to the next, or maybe they're lining up to go outside. They're going to say, if you came to school in a car today, stand up. If you came to school in a truck today, stand up. If you came to school on an airplane today, stand up. When somebody's going to say, yes, they did. And you just let them go right on over there and line up. So they're going to ask them and have them line up according to different forms of transportation.
that's pretty much it. 5 activities.
Good job, ladies.
Thank you.
Anybody else want to share? Miss Crystal, you want to share? That's okay, you don't have to share. So how did it feel to think about lesson planning this way?
kind of complicated.
It's hard.
I like it like this.
It's harder.
It's harder, but it's more intentional.
Yeah, it kind
Bam!
of
You know that, like,
That's a 50-cent word.
yeah.
I like
You know that the child is
Yeah,
dealing with
I
it
mean-
through different avenues too, because a child that may not be so into like self-awareness made like community helpers a lot. So you're like integrating it and it's helping them learn with something they like and something they're not so familiar with.
Yeah,
And it
should make you
teaches
think.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I'm sorry, you got fine.
Oh, it teaches you how to cater to each emerging, developing, or mastering child. You know, they're all on different levels, and each child learns different.
And how can you differentiate the learning if you don't know how they learn?
That's right.
How can you give them what they need?
Nothing.
I like this.
And even when you
I learn like this before I do my lesson plan.
when you're thinking about taking this, and the more you do this, the faster you get at it.
Yeah, I can
The more you do it, the faster you get at it.
Because we had a hard time, like we just to start doing stuff, you had to think about it, you had to erase the stuff, because you said you gotta match that. We like, oh, we think that far ahead.
And even when you're thinking about your lesson plan, you don't even have to, and you're doing it, like, let's say you're doing it at nap time, right? Because that's most of the time when we have time to do it. If you're not doing it at home. And let's say you're just writing out on a piece of paper, this is the topic I want. This is what do I want them to know about this topic? You don't even have to go into a web per se. Helps you compartmentalize it, but you don't have to. Just jot it down on a piece of paper. So that then as you're matching and you're looking at your lesson plan where you've got to plan physical development activities according to community helpers or winter or transportation. And my suggestion is you don't have to do multiple strands. You can pick one strand, one code, and take that with 5 different activities. Because the goal is repetition, right? So if you want that, you have 5 different activities that support this one strand. That's all you have to do. You don't have to have 5 different strands. You can have the same strand, just 5 different activities.
See, that's where I mess up at. I try to cater to each strand. So my lesson plans are long and drawn out.
And so you've got your 5 days. So you use the same strand for physical development. Use the same strand for language and literacy cognitive. Use the same strand for science if you want to. And let's say if you're doing 2 science activities, 2 math activities, use the same strand for science, use the same strand for math.
That makes them so much simpler.
Yes.
Making it harder on myself.
And
Learn that like that too.
yes, and then smarter, not harder. And if we know how children learn best through repetition, why would you change it up? They don't know what the strands are. They don't. They just know you're giving them something fun to do. They're not going to know that that's CLL 2.48. That's you.
I got
Yeah. And so how do you foresee yourselves using this technique in your work going forward?
I'm gonna use it. Can I have this box?
You cannot, but I will get you a box.
Okay.
And also, when we're doing our activities, we have to do 9 activities. Bam, there's a box of them. According to the ages that you're working on, smarter, not harder. As long as you know how to find the activities, you don't have to make up 9 of your own. Who does that? None of us. I know I'm gonna go right over here to this little box,
So do we,
and I'm gonna pull 9.
do we have this across the street? Yeah.
You used to. I don't know if you still do.
I know they had it right there.
You used to have one. If not, I'll order some more. Because these are free to order. We just have to pay the shipping to get them.
She used to have one in every class.
Yeah. And we just have to pay the shipping to get them.
Oh, I better.
Yeah, I will pay the shipping. And I'm missing a couple of my boxes. I had these at my house. I'm missing a couple boxes. So
I think I have.
They look really good though, in good, they're
Oh,
in
they
good
had it.
condition.
They was at a
Just
location.
at a house, really
In
brand
Forest
new.
Park.
Okay, I'm sorry, Miss. Can I give my niece a piece? My niece a piece.
yeah. So what questions do you have about planning in this way? What questions does you, what are there any I wonder moments? Do you like, Does that cause you to have any I wonder moments?
Because it's very thorough too. Like when you're doing the emerging development and mastery, would you do this every time you make a lesson plan, or would you just, or is this something you kind of just keep in mind, or it'll be helpful. Like, is it something that you include?
Oh, wow.
I feel like, yeah.
You can include it, like if you want to keep your work, so let's say you're working with somebody else, and you're co-teaching with somebody, and you want to make sure that your co-teacher has an understanding of what's happening.
Right.
Have your notes to share. If you're working together with someone else, and let's say someone else is going to have to pick up your lesson plan, and you pulled activity cards from the GELDS boxes, photocopy those or take pictures of them so that you can share the pictures with whoever's working with you. So then everybody knows what's supposed to take place. Communication around lesson planning is really key, because if you plan your lesson plan, but I don't know what activity that was that she was using, then it's harder, not smarter. But if she's already got the card photocopied behind her lesson plan, whew, I got it. I'm good to go. Because you want anybody to be able to pick up your lesson plan in your absence and do it. And this format of planning, it doesn't matter what the lesson plan template is. You're already aligning it. You're already thinking of your strategies. You're already thinking of your materials. You're already thinking of everything. Then all you've got to do is put it on form. So you're not planning to the form. You've got a high quality process of planning that matches any form. And that's what you want. You want anything that you do to match the framework that you're placed into. And you may be in a place that doesn't really have anything formal. Look what you could bring to them.
Right. They'd be like, ooh.
I know. She said, they'd be going, differentiated learning. You've been to college?
Right.
What's that? Can you tell me what that is? Well, as a matter of fact, I can, because your children learn in 3 different ways. You're going to see emerging, developing, mastered. You want to plan and differentiate the instruction so that each child gets it. Bam. Then you're the smartest person in the room.
Right.
Yeah. And so this is the work, this was my work that I did for my project. So I wanted to share that with you so that you all would see my work.
Miss Lisa,
Yes?
I got some pizza. You want to some pizza?
Oh, thank you, dear. So this was my work.
Got his name.
Thank you.
You want some pizza? You? No. Okay, little girl, whatever, baby, do some pizza.
And I had to do it for different ages and everything. Just,
Oh, this cool. We keep these.
you can have those.
Okay. Thank you for the free lesson plan.
You got 1 lesson plan, 2 lesson plan.
Yeah, and I had to sit down and go through those exact questions that
You did this, Miss Lisa?
that's my work, yes. That when they were like behaviors, okay, what behaviors are you seeing, Lisa?
How did you do exploring, Miss Lisa? What is that?
Exploring is just one level over from emerging. That's why I didn't even make you all do it, because they're so close.
Would that fall under special needs?
No.
No?
It's just one where exploring and emerging are so close. That's why I need to just redo my form and take it off,
Gotcha, okay.
because they're so close.
Thanks for conversation occurring. Oh, wow. Language and lyrics.
And my teacher developed that form. So on the bottom of the form, you'll see that I gave her credit for the form. I had to get her permission to use that form in my training class. And she made me tell her exactly what I wanted to do with that form too. And I let her read my training. And then she said, yes, you can use my stuff. She told me, just give me credit for it. I said, all right, you got it. Is there any questions? Do you feel comfortable being able to create lesson plans?
Yes. Yeah, that's always been my area of expertise anyway.
I mean, I like it, just like you say, you gotta think though, you can take a lot of it.
Yes.
But I like it, you know what you think?
And that's the point, is to make you all think. Because so many things is just robotic. Like, okay, let me just put these activities on this page without even thinking about the relevance of it and why it matters.
But I have a question.
Yeah.
So when do we know, like, if an activity is too age appropriate for the child?
So like if it's too outside of its outside,
Right.
they won't even be able to do it no matter how much you give them to do it.
You can tell.
You'll be able to tell.
They ain't got no interest in it.
And if you're aligning it, it'll be outside of their skill level. So if you're aligning it with the behavioral milestone framework, you won't give them something outside of.
Okay, so say for instance, like you see back there got the Christmas trees, and they decorated. They'd be too age appropriate for
toddlers, yes and no. So those children can cut out their own tree.
Right.
Your children can't cut out their own tree.
Right.
So if you were to have them create a tree based off of what they know a tree looks like, but you know it's not going to look like a tree,
Right.
then you put up a little description that said, we created our own Christmas trees, and you put your Geld's coat on there, and you put that in the middle, and you put all of them around it.
What?
Yeah. Yes.
Wow.
Because they're learning still. So they're learning that representation and how to put it together, and they don't know. So you give them pictures of Christmas trees to look at, and then you let them draw what they thought, the self-portrait, you let them draw what they think a Christmas tree is. Or if you draw out the Christmas tree, don't cut it out, but then in there decorating it, it may be all over the page. Leave it. Because they did it. And it's process, not product. Don't cut it.
Okay, cool.
And then put up a description and why you chose that activity.
So when do they introduce scissors in EPS?
Twos. Tots
Like
two.
safety scissors?
That would be a small group, but you want to give them Play-Doh and stuff first to strengthen their hand muscles so that they can learn how to cut. Pinching, things that they can pinch, so that you want to build these muscles so that they can
Almost like
do
the
it.
tongs.
Yep, absolutely.
I'm tearing paper right now.
Yep, they can tear paper.
Scissors.
Yep, they can tear paper before they do that. That's a great one. They can tear paper before they use scissors. Because they have to grip it to tear it.
No, paper. I told start doing
And you can also, like in toddler classrooms, you can get like one of those little plastic toddler pools, put it in your room, put some magazines and some paper, newspapers, let them tear it in the pool. So when you're teaching the children how to cut and tear, you can take one of those toddler plastic pools, put it on the floor, let two toddlers sit in it and tear the paper inside the little pool, the plastic pool, or cut inside the little plastic pool. If it's 3-year-olds, you can put paper in your sensory table and let them cut in the sensory table, or tear in the sensory table.
Now, some of my young ones had trouble tearing, so I started it but finished it. So they still getting used to it.
Yep, and then later they'll be able to tear it without your assistance.
They doing that now.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
3-4 months ago.
Any other questions about anything that we've done today?
I like this class.
Good.
This class.
Oh, I did too.
Because we want you to build your knowledge.
Has been really great.
Yeah, just like how the children build their knowledge, we want you to build your knowledge too. So that when people ask you that and you tell them you have a CDA, you can really display the knowledge of a teacher with a CDA. There's so many teachers out there that cannot do that.
And you can see it.
You can see it. I don't want any student of mine to ever be that. I want you all to be out there and they go, oh, Lisa Polk was your teacher? Yeah, okay. Come on over here. You might be able to teach a little. You might be able to teach a little something. Come on.
Right.
Yes.
When does it work on our
Well, our next face-to-face, bring your stuff because we will. And I'll bring these activity boxes so you can go ahead and pick your 9 activities.
And what do we need to get?
Clear sleeves and a 1.5-inch binder. You know, the clear plastic sleeves, protector sleeves? Yes.
With the tabs, Miss?
Yes, and you need alphabet tabs. You need tabs that go from A to J.
A to J, okay. Alphabet tab.
A to J. And then we will work on our resources. We'll take about an hour to an hour and a half next session, and we'll work on our activities.
And I've
got a whole bunch of clear sleeves at home as well, and I'll bring them with me so I can share those all out to get them out of my office because I don't need them. So I'll bring them. Oh gosh, you're going to need quite a few. I would say at least 50 to 100, yeah.
What?
At least 50 to 100 clear sleeves, protector sleeves, at least.
I think the last class, Miss Nancy gave it to me.
And then what size notebook?
1.5 inches. An 1.5 inches. Crystal, you want me to look at your book before? So tabs, you can get the tabs that are not labeled, but you're going to have to label them A through J.
Okay.
You can either buy the alphabet tabs or just label it A through J. Any other questions before I send you off to enjoy the rest of your Saturday? Right, we worked straight through. And you guys did so well. Any questions, ladies, before I send you out? No. Go on and enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'll print it.
The game gonna get up now at 2 o'clock. And the chicken was hot. I was showing my I told you it was hot. I told you to get hot to somebody.